Hi everyone, my name is Brienne from The Huntswoman, and you are on my YouTube channel today. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a haul from Barnes & Noble, one of my #1 favorite places on planet Earth. Since you're already here, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. I would really like to get like a personalized, customized URL from YouTube, so you hitting that subscribe button helps me out so much. So just go on down there and just, you know, hit subscribe. I'll wait. Okie dokie, artichoke. Shit. The books just fell. So I have been going to Barnes & Noble for, honestly, as long as I can remember. In Utah, there really aren't a whole lot of bookstores. Barnes & Noble is like it. And I've always been super nerdy. I was the kid that like read at recess. I'm very uncoordinated and I'm not good at sports. I know I'm basically a failure as a gamo, but here we are. Also, fun fact, I fell in love for the first time at a Barnes & Noble, but that's a different YouTube video. So today, we're doing a haul. So I bought a bunch of stuff that I've been wanting to buy for a while, and then I realized you could just buy it and then film a haul for the internet. So I did. So my total was $132.76, $132.76. And of course, duh, I'm a Barnes & Noble member and you get 10% off everything and like various other cool little deals. So let's get started. So first up we have socks. As a lot of my fellow Barnes & Noble nerds have noticed, over the past few years especially, Barnes & Noble has really upped its gift game. A lot more like home decor items have been found in Barnes & Noble as well, and I really just think it's because brick and mortar is such a dog-eat-dog world. So these socks, there's like a whole display dedicated to socks and blankets and like cozy things for while you're reading. It says, "Read and relax." On the packaging. Get cozy with a good book. Reading socks with faux Sherpa lining. So it's like this faux fur on the outside and then the inside is like faux Sherpa and then it's knit. And these are pretty thick, you guys. Like, these are not socks for wearing with boots. I think they're way too thick. These are socks if you do like deep moisturizing, like during the winter I'll put like a deep moisturizing lotion treatment on my feet and I'll put the thick socks on over it. These would be really good for that. And also all of the socks were mostly white at Barnes & Noble, and so I feel really doubtful about wearing these around my house because they're gonna get gross on the bottom, and that's not in keeping with my like lady of luxury and means lifestyle. I think these are socks that you could wear, you know, when you put on a face mask and you are like getting in bed at night to do some reading in your like satin robe and have these on in bed. I don't think these are necessarily things one wants to wear around one's house. Okay, so the whole reason that I decided to do this video is because one of my very best friends, wow, hair. One of my very best friends has written a book, a journal actually, called Fill Me In, which you do with you and a friend. And what's funny about this is I actually have like 5 copies of this. I pre-ordered 2 and then Caitlin sent me 2. So what I'm actually gonna do is a little giveaway. So if you comment on this video, then I will enter you in a drawing to win a journal. So she also did like a whole journal where she annotated because there are like Easter eggs or references to our friendship in here, which I love. So it has things like fill in cell phone situation. What would your dating profile say if it was 100% accurate? Oh my god, I don't know if I want to tell people that. Which Emma are you? This is high-key content. And I'm really excited to do this. I think I'm actually going to do this with friends that are remote because I do a lot of like video chats with people. What are 3 goals that you'd like to accomplish in the next year? So it does like fun pop culture stuff and then like gets down in deep. Right? Or splash your favorite drink here. What's your best story involving this drink? Mine would involve a Moscow Mule. Not gonna tell that to the internet. But if you want to do a Fill Me In journal with me, please do. And I'm just so proud of Caitlin. This is something that she pitched to Simon & Schuster and ended up getting it published under Touchstone. This cover is just so her. Caitlin and I met because we needed to find roommates for the coming year. I was in like the 5th wheel out and so was she, and so we ended up at what Stanford calls like a housing draw, where you go and you find somebody to be a roommate in what's called a roommate mixer, and it's really awkward and I don't recommend it. It was not cute. But I just walked up to Caitlin because I saw her and I was like, oh my god, this girl reminds me of Rory Gilmore because she has like the blue eyes, brown hair situation. I feel like I'm Lorelai Gilmore, so obviously it's meant to be we started chatting, and then we became roommates for the following school year. And there are a lot of things that I appreciate about Caitlin. She's a publisher, so she has this just like really quick wit. She loves me even though I overuse commas and can't use a semicolon correctly to save my life, or an em dash. Caitlin has been so supportive of my fashion dreams and fashion goals, always encouraging me, always talking to me about fashion. She has like every back issue of Vogue ever created. So this is one of those things where like when your friend does something, you just like want to go up and tell everyone about it, because I'm just so fucking proud that Caitlin did this, and she's just a creative genius, and she's funny, and it's all just like in this fun filming and journal with you and your friends. So get a glass of wine, go to Luke's Diner, get some coffee, and you can just go through it. So congratulations, Caitlin. I'm really excited for you. We have Love magazine that I purchased at Barnes & Noble. I used to get a lot of my fashion magazines as subscriptions that would just come in the mail. But then what happens is they just kind of piled up, and I would just see it and I viewed it as kind of a to-do list item, not as like a joyful thing that I love going through. So now what I do is about once a week, generally every Sunday, I go to Barnes & Noble for some brie time, and when I do that, I pick up all the fashion magazines that I want to review off the stand, and I usually leave the store with 2 or 3, and of course I always put them back because I'm not that annoying Barnes & Noble customer. And walking past the stands today, I saw this and I was like, why hasn't this been all over my social media that Beth Ditto is like on the cover of Love magazine? Not only is she on the cover, there's a whole editorial inside for the 10th anniversary edition that is just beautiful. There's a lot to talk about there. I want you to buy this magazine, so I'm not going to show you those images, and also those images are not PG rated. They are not approved for general consumption on YouTube. So yeah, not going to get my channel blacklisted so early. This magazine was $17.99, and then it was $16.19. And keep in mind, you guys, this is super thick. This is like the Fashion Nerd magazine. This is where brands put in all of their like weird out there editorials when people are like experimenting with stuff. I just love. So I usually buy Love magazine every month, generally just off the stands. So these books get a lot of flack, right? A lot of the times they're kind of like the butt of jokes on like comedy sets, like, oh, you can go get a For Dummies book. But actually these books are super helpful, and they're very comprehensive, and they're written by experts, right? This isn't like Joe Schmo who does some research on the internet and writes a For Dummies book. Wiley Publishing puts these out. It takes a lot to be able to write one of these books. Like, it's super competitive. So if you're ever trying to learn a new skill, highly recommend you get a For Dummies book. And the thing is too, I'm just trying to fill in gaps in knowledge, right? But if you go out into the world with the assumption that you know everything, that's how you make mistakes. So I do know a lot, but I would like a more comprehensive, make sure I got all my bases covered. So there's that. And this book was, wait for it, da, 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 da. It was $26.99 regularly, $24.99 plus tax with my membership. For Dummies books are where it's at. So normally I don't buy stuffed animals or like the little cutesy gamer stuff that they have on Barnes & Noble, but I love Bo Mouse so much. He's kind of like my little like internal mascot. I don't know if you have days where you feel like this, but I know I do. This little guy was $14.99, about $12.99 with my discount. Really soft, cute little hands. I'll probably gift this to somebody who's also a Miyazaki nerd, but I don't know. I just saw him and I was like, you're coming home with me, my friend. Cute. So if you read my blog, or I don't know, you follow me on Instagram, story, Twitter, wherever, you know that I am a huge urban fantasy nerd. I have a whole roundup of my favorite series. One of the OG authors of urban fantasy is Laurel Hamilton. She has been writing the Anita Blake books for probably over a decade. It's a very successful franchise, and it's super interesting. And what also I love about it is that it incorporates polyamorous and queer themes. So if you are into that kind of thing, and you also like vampires and fantasy, Anita Blake series is where it's at. So there have been 25 books in this series. And also, like, can we just talk about what a badass author photo that is? Like, leather boots above the knee. Yes, Work it, girl. And what's also really cool about this series is the character development of the main character, Anita Blake. She starts off being kind of suppressed and not really owning herself or her desires. And then, you know, 25 books later, throughout the process, the character development has been really fascinating, and Hamilton also does a really good job of telling and interweaving the stories of the other characters and showing their development as well. A lot of the times in urban fantasy books, it's like, young woman doesn't feel secure or confident in herself. Young woman discovers she has magical powers and must save the world. And young woman then meets a tall, dark, handsome stranger and is able to save the world, right? Like, it's pretty cut and dried, pretty formulaic. But in the last few years, it's gotten a lot better. And what's also cool about the Anita Blake series is because when it was first published, there weren't a whole, like, urban fantasy as a genre didn't really exist. Laurell K. Hamilton has really paved the way for a lot of authors to come after her. It's been interesting to see how the books have aged along with feminism and politics since first being published. And it's also fascinating to see the evolution of Hamilton's writing style and how much more complex and rich it's gotten with each book. Switching gears here from vampires and polyamory to Busy Phillips. So this will only hurt a little is Busy Phillips' memoir. She was like a child teen star who then kind of floated away for a little bit and is now back with a vengeance, thanks largely in part to her popularity on Instagram. One, I freaking love this photo of her, like this pussy bow situation in pink. Yes, girl. And I wasn't really sure if I wanted to buy this, and then I saw that Tess Holliday did a segment on Busy's new show, and I was like, I don't know. So I was flipping through it. I love reading memoirs, but I'm kind of over the like girl boss, thin white woman is successful, like and they don't really like engage in a lot of politics in these kinds of, you know, bubblegum memoirs. And then I was like, okay, I'm making a lot of assumptions. That's not really fair. I should just, you know, read through the book at Barnes & Noble. I'm just gonna say there's a trigger warning for rape and sexual assaults talking about this book. So in it, Busy Phillips talks about how she did this audition for Quentin Tarantino, felt a little creeped out, didn't get the role, so she moved on. And then when the Me Too movement started, this video of an interview between Howard Stern and Quentin Tarantino came up, and in that interview, Quentin Tarantino, where he, quote, defends Roman Polanski's drugging and raping of a 13-year-old. So, proven wrong, right? This book isn't like all bubblegum and like girl power kind of stuff. Busy, this is what made me decide to buy it. Busy says, my daughter is 10. I know 13-year-olds. I couldn't help it. I took to Twitter angrily, as we all do nowadays, same, and fired off a series of tweets condemning him and his stupid art and everyone and anyone who ever works with him. Fuck that guy. You don't get to exist in this world anymore, my dude. But then he did issue an apology for that interview, which I guess is all that he could do, and so he gets to exist for a while longer, I guess. His movie about the Manson murders is about to be filmed with Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie and other stars. I'm sure it will be mesmerizing. Probably a hit. I'll skip. I really appreciated her take on, you know, being in this industry where people are making creative work that is successful, and this is something that we've seen with like Woody Allen et al., where the stuff that they're still doing is great and people love their work, but they want to have this sort of like death of the author scenario where we look at the author separately from the work that he creates. And I just appreciated her take on that, and I was like, okay, this girl is talking about real shit, so I'm gonna buy this pink book. So I was wrong to judge a book by its cover.